became the government, and we want to continue with that progress.
Question number 2, the Honourable Annette King.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question's to the Prime Minister. Are all New Zealanders better off after 3 years of his government?
The Honourable Bill English on behalf of the Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Prime Minister, I don't know the personal circumstances of every New Zealander, but what I can say with absolute confidence is that the vast bulk of New Zealanders are better off, certainly, than they would have been under a Labor government.
Honourable Annette King.
Supplementary question. Why should New Zealanders feel better off under his government, given the $37 billion borrowing with no growth, the 56,000 extra people unemployed, escalating child poverty, and the smallest annual increase in median wages in 11 years, and with people working hard but unable to get ahead?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, they don't have to feel better off. Some do. Some, depending on their circumstances, feel the pressure of paying the bills, holding their jobs and getting their debt down. And we are there to do as much as we can to support those New Zealanders. With respect to their incomes, the facts are that real after-tax incomes have risen, not decreased.
The Honourable Annette King.
Supplementary question. Are the rising number of children now living in poverty under his government, up to 228,000 in the last 3 years, as quoted by himself 2 weeks ago, better off now? If so, how?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, the problem of the rising number of children in benefit households is a product of both the New Zealand recession, which was precipitated by the bad policy of the previous government, and the global recession. And of course they're not better off being in households living on benefits instead of wages, but Labor have criticised every single move this government has made to turn around long-term welfare dependency. But we will persist. Most New Zealanders want us to, and we will succeed if we're re-elected.
The Honourable Annette King.
Supplementary question, Mr Speaker. Can he confirm there has been an increase of 21.8% in the number of New Zealanders now receiving a main benefit since National became the government, and has that made New Zealand better off?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, the Labor Party exists, as I said yesterday, in a funny little world which pretends the global recession never happened. Of course there are more people on benefits because we've been through one of the biggest recessions New Zealand's had in a while. But our economic policy is creating more jobs and higher incomes, and our welfare policy is getting alongside people, supporting them, encouraging them, and sometimes pressurising them to assist them back into the workforce. And despite Labor's relentless criticism of our positive moves on welfare, we will keep going.
The Honourable Annette King.
Does he stand by his comments yesterday during the questioning of the Minister of Finance on the double credit downgrade that there's been no downgrade? Or hasn't it yet registered that the verdict is in on National's economic management and it's failed to achieve?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, there's a verdict that I suppose the voters will deliver on that economic management in a couple of months' time. And they certainly delivered a verdict on Labor's very damaging economic management at the last election. Quite a devastating verdict, and Labor haven't quite got over it. The fact is New Zealand is in better shape than 3 years ago to withstand the most difficult global circumstances in a generation, and I think it's a tribute to New Zealanders that they have shown the resilience to deal with these very difficult circumstances, and we will continue to support them.
The Honourable Annette King.
Supplementary question. Why can he do something about the TV time slot for Coronation Street, but say he can do nothing about the wages of the lowest paid in New Zealand, like the staff who clean his office every night?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Prime Minister, he has an extraordinary range of capacities and talents. And almost everyone in New Zealand recognises that except the Labour Party, who still think that the former Prime Minister is going to drop down out of the sky back into the Prime Minister's seat and everything will be right again. Well, that's not going to happen. John Key has shown remarkable leadership skills through difficult times in New Zealand, and I think he'd be the first to accept he hasn't fixed every problem, but he's fixed quite a lot.
Question number 3, Chris Ockenpohl.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Minister of Finance. How has the government's economic plan over the past 3 years laid the foundations for a more competitive economy based on savings, exports and productive